Hello and welcome to this first episode or episode 0 of the Project Management for You podcast series. Let me start out by telling you what this show is going to be about so you can make a decision right now whether this is a good fit for you. Have you ever had an idea to do something but never turned it into reality? Or maybe it was too complicated or too complex, or you didn't know where to start? Or have you ever wanted to make a promise to someone but was afraid that you would not be able to deliver on that promise? Or even worse, have you ever made a promise to someone but the realization of that promise turned out to be too much work or too complex, so you did not deliver, you failed? Or let's put it this way, do you struggle with getting things done, with finishing things, with turning ideas into reality? Well, here's the thing. I did. I have always been a relatively smart kid. You know, I'm not gonna lie. I did very well in school. I ended up getting a degree in electrical engineering, which is no easy feat, right? So, but despite my good brains, let's say, I always struggled with doing things, with finishing things, and being reliable, making promises and following through with them, and things like that. And my attention span is really short. My memory is terrible. So I was always that guy full of ideas, but nothing to show for it. Yeah, let me give you a little bit of a background here. When I was graduating from electrical engineering some 10 years ago, my father's small business was getting off the ground and he offered me a job, right? So I considered it, and after consideration, I decided to take it. And for years, I treated that as a job, as a 9-to-5 occupation, if you will. And I would go home at the end of the day and just watch TV or just do other mindless things. And that was the attitude for me for a few years. But then something happened, almost back to back. My dad had cancer and then a stroke. And all of a sudden, I realized that perhaps our company was maybe not going to make it. And that I may have to look for a job in the future. And I never thought about that until then. You know? And since my title with the company had been of project manager, I decided to look more into the profession. And I realized that there was this enormous body of work related to project management. I mean, we all hear, project management, but we really don't know what that means. Well, there is this, as I said, an enormous body of work related to this, including various certification levels. So I decided to go and study and get a certification as a project manager. And the reference book I had to read for this exam is called the Project Management Body of Knowledge, or PMBOK for short. And this book is basically the Bible, if you will, of project management, as envisioned by the Project Management Institute, which is the certification body that bestows this certification on people. And this book is long, is extensive, and it's really, really boring. It's not entertaining at all. But it is a reference book for organizations and corporations, and most of it didn't speak much to me as a small business person. But because I had to study that book for my certification, I started learning these principles and tools and techniques of project management, and things started to make sense. Slowly, things started to make sense. And besides getting prepared for the exam, I started to realize that there were things in that book that were really useful and that I could start implementing right away. But not only at work, but also in my personal life. And slowly I started to understand how companies like Apple, Amazon, Google, government bodies, and how they're able to take an idea and turn them into products and services. It became clear to me how Apple can envision, let's say, a new iPhone and then use a framework, a methodology to turn that vision into a product in the hands of the consumer. So really, project management opened my eyes to this possibility, the possibility of having ideas and using a structured procedure to make them real. How powerful is that, And with that confidence, it allows anyone to make promises, knowing that it's possible and feasible to deliver on them. So all of a sudden, I started to get things done. It was crazy. I was more organized, I was reliable, and most of all, I was becoming confident in my abilities to basically do anything, as crazy as that sounds. So I can honestly say that project management has really changed my life. It is the reason I'm here behind this microphone today. Launching a podcast, writing a book, these are projects, and I could never have done it without my background in project management and having studied this topic. So today I'm what you would call an achiever. I do things, I make things happen. Yet my brain is still the same as it always was. There's nothing different physiologically in my DNA. My memory is still terrible. My attention span is shorter than ever. I'm getting older, right? So it doesn't get any better. But project management has provided me with a system that I have learned to rely on. So my bad memory is no longer an issue. Project management really saved my career, my livelihood. And as I think about my future, I don't think it's ever been brighter. I'm really excited about life right now and about the future. Now, back to my dad. He actually survived the stroke and cancer, and he's actually doing really well. But that scary moment was what I needed to get my life in gear. It really was. So, I haven't introduced myself yet. My name is Cesar Abade. I'm a husband, a father of 3 wonderful children, and a project manager. And because of this transformation, project management became a passion for me because it did so much for me. And in 2011, I started the Construction Industry Podcast, and in 2013, the Project Management for the Masses podcast, in which I bring content on a weekly basis to people in the project management industry. But I really wanted to do more. I wanted others who are not in the project management industry to also understand the value and benefit of good project management. And if it helped me so much, it sure could help other people as well. So I decided to not only do this podcast series, but to write a book. And this book will boil down project management to the least you need to know to start turning these ideas into reality. And the working title for this book is Project Management for You, which is also the title for this podcast series. So to help me in this process, I reached out to the best project managers I have met during my journey as the host of the Project Management for the Masses podcast. And I asked if you would be okay to ask them some questions about project management. Then I had this idea. Why not record these conversations and turn that into a new show? And that's what I did, and that's what you're listening to right now. So in this Project Management for You podcast series, you will hear my conversations with some of the best project managers in the world that I know. And together we're going to try to explain project management to you, so you too can start taking your ideas and turning them into reality, and making promises and delivering on them, and also getting things done. Now, these conversations will be fun and sometimes difficult. Project management, the way I see it, has been trapped in the corporate world for so long that sometimes it's really a challenge to present it free of the jargon and the lingo. So I ask you to bear with us as we go through this through each episode, as we try to simplify and explain project management to you. Now, the episodes will be released every weekday for about a month. Okay, so buckle up and get ready for a barrage of awesome conversations that will inspire you and show you the way of getting started with using project management. So, in this spirit of turning ideas into reality, I am eating my own dog food here. And as you know, there is a dog food called Caesar, but that's a different story. At the same time that this podcast will air, I will be working hard on my book. So this book will be self-published. And to help me with the costs of self-publishing, I'm going to start a Kickstarter crowdfunding campaign where everyone can go and back this project and pre-order the book and support me in this project. So to do that, all you have to do is visit projectmanagementforyou.com. Okay, if you do that right now, when as this podcast is airing, you will be directed to the campaign page. If the campaign is already over and you're listening to this way into the future, it's going to take you to another page on my website where you can learn more about the book and perhaps order the book right there. So I hope you can sense my excitement here as I start this journey. So without any further ado, enjoy this Project Management for You podcast series. And as I always say, remember that life is a project and you are the manager. Welcome.